ahead and load us in here. We are live. I want to double check audio. I'm pretty sure we're both going to be able to hear each other, but you never know.
You know, PlayStation is kind of funky.
Yep, no, I hear both of us. Cool. Now that audio issue, well, it wasn't really an issue, but the audio check, the mic check, audio check words, they've come and gone in just that small instance there. My brain is on some shit today.
Which has now become a bigger instance.
You did what, babe?
I said your brain is on wontons.
My brain is on wontons. Yes.
I mean, it's not a bad place to be.
This is a very happy place to be, especially given the topics we will be talking about today. Welcome everybody to Some Salty Gamers Official. Here with me today I have just Heavy Sins 1911 and possibly some commentary from my lovely wife here in the background. We will be talking about some of the world issues today, what's going on in Wisconsin, wonton. I combined Wisconsin and wonton into one fucking word.
So anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. This one's shaping up to look like it could be very interesting.
I'm in a mood. One that Heavy is like, take your happy ass somewhere. I'm not dealing with your shit today.
That's alright. Once the coffee kicks in, I'll be fine.
I bothered him today. He's not happy with me, I guess.
Nah, could be worse.
You're not wrong.
I mean, you could be in one of your antisocial moods, in which case I'd be sitting here solo.
You asked me a question. Hey, Krim, what about this?
But alright, cool. You know what? My back hurts from carrying all these conversations.
Oh, horrible. But, yes, Wisconsin, the political stuff going on, here in America, the elections coming up. God, man, I'm just getting down thinking about it.
Don't let it get you down, man.
You're right. We will be doing this over some Destiny 2. We'll probably be, I guess I'll be grinding out Crucible. I need to level here in this game.
And I'll be here helping him, just because I have to get kills and Destiny to get catalysts.
That sounds good. So the issues here in Wisconsin, and I don't know if I can pull up an article on it or not real quick, because I've heard about the issues, but I haven't done some deep digging into them like I usually would.
Fair enough. From what I'm understanding, a lot of it started with the Kenosha, Wisconsin Police Department responding to a call with a woman who was alleging her ex-boyfriend had shown up at her house. She did not want him there, and he had also taken her keys to her vehicle and would not give them back.
Wisconsin. I forgot how to spell it. Wisconsin. You said Kenosha, right?
Yes.
The enemy has gained ground, but it's not over.
Alright, got the wife pulling up an article on it now.
Wow.
Do continue.
We're getting stomped right now.
Yeah.
But supposedly, you know, this is what has come out and what has been leaked through the 911 audio dispatch. when police
What?
get there,
That shut them down.
Audio dispatch. I hit the
Dude.
guy with 2 bull shots and he like lived.
yeah, no, I just got gang banged by 4 of them.
That sounds like a
Today.
fun time.
Power play. Enemy has your zone.
We're gonna break up these teams, find a better match.
Just call it already.
The torture.
So anyway, PD arrives.
Are you gonna run down the briefing?
Do you want me to just read out the article?
He did not get suppressed.
Paraphrase.
Have? Do you just want me to read out the article that was pulled up?
Yeah.
Alright, this is a protest from the article from The Guardian. That's the source right now. Protests unfolded in Kenosha, Wisconsin on Sunday after a video emerged showing an officer in the city's police department shooting a black man in the back as he tried to open his car door. Deland Mater. What is this, Cars? Here, play Destiny for me for a second while I read this. Identified as Jacob Blake is now paralyzed from the waist down, his family said. On Tuesday evening, the third night of protests, 2 people were fatally shot and another person was wounded. Videos of the shooting appeared to show a white vigilante gunman carrying out the shootings. Here's what we know about the events. A video surfaced that afternoon recorded by a bystander showing Blake walking around a car on the street while several police officers stand nearby. The video shows Blake, 29, trying to get into his car through the driver's side door. As Blake does this, an officer opens fire in the video. At least 7 shots are heard. Officials said the police there were responding to a domestic violence report. That was weirdly written.
Oh, yeah. It is weirdly written.
So basically what I'm reading so far is responding to a domestic violence report means you gotta shoot people?
So,
No.
The police
However,
did not come for Mr. Blake.
as
They
per
were there
usual-
for a whole different dispute between different parties, and Mr. Blake was there breaking up a fight, and essentially he was caught in the middle.
Not according to
Although
what the
he
911 calls are
Had
saying.
nothing to do with the call that was sent out.
So Heavy is saying the 911 calls are completely different. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, the 911 calls are exactly like what I was saying. They called them. His ex-girlfriend called 911 on him, saying she didn't want him there and that he had stolen her keys.
Right, and this says a domestic violence call was made, and that's why the police showed up. In the report here that I'm reading.
A lot has come out about this incident. You know, when the police officers were talking with him and he went around to the side of his vehicle, allegedly, Mr. Blake had said that he was going to get a gun.
Mm-hmm.
They had already tried to place him under arrest. When he opened the door, they tased him twice with no effect.
Okay.
There are instances of tasers not working. There are instances of people taking tasers like a champ.
I don't quite
know.
understand the prospect. You went in for a domestic violence call, but you approached a man fully armed, one way or another.
Yes and no. When you get a domestic violence call, for the most part, you kind of don't know what you're walking into with every other call that PD gets. So you
Right.
got to kind of be alert. And when things aren't matching and all of a sudden nobody wants to cooperate, you kind of get even more tense.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact that the video, I'm not going to say he was being aggressive, but he does appear to be very irate and confrontational.
I mean, I saw a video, I'm not sure if it's the same video. The dude was already in the car.
No, he was reaching in.
And the officers were like attempting to pull him out.
Yep.
From what I've seen, then he pulled his gun from his holster and shot him twice.
Because he had
Point
already
range
made
to
the
his
threat
back.
that he was
With
going
his
to
back
reach
turned,
for
so how is he
a
a
firearm.
threat if your back is turned?
Okay, I mean,
Like there's
I don't see anything to go against what you're saying here in this article. So I will take your word for it there, but I'll look into it more, definitely.
Yeah, definitely look into it. Like I said, more and more has come out about the initial incident.
Can you hold territory?
Right.
Oh, now you want to talk, Dib?
What's up, dude? Morning.
You know, like I said, the 911 call has been put out there. I know, at least on Instagram, one of the pages I follow has it up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he does, the call does mention more of a, you know, I want him removed from the premises feel than it does a, you know, he's just trying to break up a domestic disturbance.
Right, on Friday, the Wisconsin Department of Justice, the agency charged with investigating the shooting, said officers attempted to arrest Mr. Blake after a woman called police and said her boyfriend was present and not supposed to be on the premises. After Kenosha police, Officer Rustin Shesky unsuccessfully used a stun gun to try to stop Mr. Blake. A second officer, Vincent Arianes, used his stun gun as well on Mr. Blake. Mr. Blake then walked around his car to open the front door and was leaning forward when Mr. Shesky shot him in the back 7 times. Mr. Shesky was the only officer who fired his weapon, the department said. Mr. Blake admitted after the shooting to having a knife in his possession, investigators said. So this article claims that Jacob Blake had a knife on him and he was going into the car to receive this knife?
I don't know if he was going for a knife or a gun.
Nor
Some
do
people are
hear
saying
they
that you
actually
can see
spoke
the
to him to
knife.
Wait a minute, are you even part of the situation that we was called out for? It just more or less looked like, well, here's the guy who's the perpetrator, without even discussing or speaking to him. Hey, we got to call out. What you know, essentially ask him what is his role. Maybe he would have acted not in defense of just saying, well, I was here helping to break up this fight. You know, I didn't attack anybody. I was just trying to stop there from being a violent situation. But instead he was just met as, you must be the target because of the color of your skin.
Yeah, the report doesn't say that Mr. Blake is actually the boyfriend. They refer to the boyfriend as the boyfriend in the articles that I'm reading, and Mr. Blake is apparently an entirely separate person.
So, you know, it's very weirdly read in a very interesting situation. This is why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. I'll let you go on as I read. I just want to, you know, brief myself up.
Oh no, by all means, brief yourself up. You know, because if I do have something that can be proven wrong, I would like to know and be corrected.
I mean, you sound like very strongly opinionated on it as to the situation itself.
It's not necessarily the original call. I do think the cops moved a little more excessive than they probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
But I have more strong opinions on the outcome of this event rather than the actual event, if that makes sense.
No, that's understand. You have a strong opinion on the effect rather than the.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
So explain to me, as I'm reading, I know what the effect is now that I've read like a couple articles. Explain to me what you believe the effect is and how exactly you formulated your opinion around it.
I think the effect is utter bullshit, and people need to stop destroying their fucking cities. Protesting is fine. I advocate it 100%. I support any protest that you want to do, even if it goes against something that I believe in, because that's one of our constitutional rights, and it needs to be protected.
Right.
What I hate seeing is when people want to turn around and burn down private businesses because that's going to end your supposed racism in police. Why burn down a used car lot?
Sorry.
Which is exactly what happened.
Oh man, that's just, I don't know. I expect people to be upset and mad over something. You're absolutely right about that. For me, I like looking at a situation as a whole. And, I mean, how was this guy, like, moving around and reacting to everybody? You know, how aggressive do you have to move for an officer to react? And how fair of a situation is it for the people to react? You know, the cause for me is definitely just as important as the effect. And if you're mad, oh yeah, fine, be mad. But don't be like, oh, the shooting was unwarranted, or, you know, especially in this situation, you do have somebody who's not listening to the officer in a high tense situation where a weapon may possibly be involved. You know, there's already a fight. It is a domestic violence situation. The perpetrator, I guess, or perpetrators were outside. The boyfriend, I would assume, and I'm not sure if Mr. Blake was there to stop a fight or not. Either way, he was there, and he was not in compliance. So, when the individual is not in compliance, how do you justify your outrage?
I think you would have to balance that out with the way a situation is handled by the police.
No, my ring.
Now, like I said, do I think the cop overreacted and may have used more than needed force? Yes. 7 times in the back and leaving the guy paralyzed? Yeah, that seems a little excessive to me.
But I mean, why the back? Why not the leg? Or the arm?
Because that's not how they're trained.
So you're trained, if someone is not in compliance, kill them?
No. They're trained to, when it comes down to a shooting, they're not trained to aim for legs or arms. They're trained to aim at center mass, neutralize the threat as fast as possible.
Right, so you're trained, kill them.
Yeah, like I said, yes and no. To me, there's
I get
between
center mass
neutralizing and killing.
Center mass, there's a bunch of places you can shoot without killing the individual. I understand that, but there's the possible for that fatality to happen. You know, there's the possibility of it. Why not train the officer to disable rather than quote unquote neutralize?
Because that could turn around and backfire even harder and get the whole city sued.
Yeah, but not in this type of situation.
Not in that type of situation.
You feel me? I feel like in different situations, or calls for different measures. True, the tasers failed. I respect the officers for using the tasers first, and I feel like that's a big piece of information to come out, because if they just outright shot this man, I'd understand outrage.
Oh, I would too. If they would have just popped him 7 times in the back, I would be like, all right, yeah, that was fucked up.
But you know, a pop to the leg and a pop to an arm, close range like that, would have been probably more beneficial and caused less outrage than shooting them in the back 7 times, paralyzing
That
them.
I kind of think the opposite. I think even if they would have popped him in the leg, they still, you know, popped him in the leg, popped him in the arm, and even if that would have neutralized him, we'd still have this same bullshit going on.
I mean, true, but well, I wouldn't even say true. I don't know. It's so weird. We live in an area where everybody is so. It's kind of weird to say. So I'm not gonna say sensitive, although that is true, sensitive to a lot of topics. But they live in their own mind way or set way of privilege when it comes to freedom of speech. Oh no, you shot this black man. He must be racist. Everybody, let's rally around this cause to push our propaganda and agenda, but no one is actually basing it off of the facts and evidence that are presented with further investigation. They just react.
Yeah, this is we're definitely in a more reactionary world than.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
No problem. Wait for information to come out world.
Where'd you go? You're not in Crucible with me.
I am.
Are you not? Oh yeah, you are. Okay.
You know, case in point, you know, people are comparing what happened in the riots in Kenosha to Tamir Rice. 17-year-old white kid armed with an AR-15, which he was openly carrying, which technically is illegal based on federal law. Shot and killed 2 people and wounded a 3rd because he was getting attacked in where he was defending because police couldn't. The gas station where he worked, allegedly.
Are none of these facts you're saying proven? They're all alleged here with the gas station and everything?
The gas station, yes. Because I don't know the guy. I can't say for sure whether or not he worked there, and I haven't heard anything about that being his actual place of employment. So, I can only go on the allegedness.
Right.
What is a fact is that he did shoot and kill 2 people and wounded a 3rd that was attacking him. And it's on video. He's, you know, being chased, he's knocked down, he's hit in the head with a skateboard, and then he returns fire, and now it comes out that the guy who was, you know, coming up on him was armed with a Glock that did have it out and ready to go.
Okay. So where's the comparison here?
Because he's a 17-year-old white boy who handed himself over to police and surrendered to them peacefully, told them what happened, and Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old black kid who was shot and killed by police for pointing a BB gun around a park at everybody.
Right.
They're saying that it's not fair that this white boy gets to live while Tamir Rice was shot and killed by police.
To some extent, you're right, because there is some form of discrimination there. You know, it's a fake gun. Tamir Rice, the little boy that got shot, just a little boy.
Yes.
You know, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's okay to be waving any type of realistic looking weapon out in the open. But it was a little boy. I mean, we have water guns and all types of things out in the open here, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm agreeing with that. What I'm not agreeing with is, you know...
And from the videos that were released, they never got out the car to even approach him.
Yeah, no, they just shot him from the window, right? No, they didn't. Did they get out the car?
No.
I thought they at least opened the door to concealment behind it and fired.
I'm confused about the two situations we're talking about. You're talking about the little boy in the park, right?
No, I know.
No, they never left the
never
cruiser
left.
at all. They peeped the window and shot him from the cruiser. They never actually thoroughly assessed the situation properly. They was just like, oh, it's a black kid with a gun. Let's shoot him.
I don't necessarily think that was the case, considering the call was for
Okay,
for
just
him
a big-
pointing the gun at multiple people in the park.
You gained the lead.
A part of your job as an officer, I don't care what type of training you have, is to properly assess the situation.
Hmm.
You know, the call was made. Oh, there's what was the call? There's a black person pointing a gun somewhere. Did they even mention the kid's age to the officers?
No, not that I know of.
Again, properly assess the situation.
This is actually turning into a really good conversation.
I think the issue where there's a lot of anger, as far as on the side of people.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Zone A captured. That's a
Right.
power play. You
Go ahead, talk your shit.
now hold.
On the side of people of color is that
And up
when it comes to a black person, even if I can understand when there's situations where it looks like there's a threat,
Zone
you know,
B lost.
and we have to be aware, black or white, of your conduct. Sorry, I'm hearing the feedback.
I know you're hearing the feedback. Go ahead, talk.
Going back again, I can understand where there's situations where, you know, let's say somebody is waving a gun, somebody is
Zone C
with a
captured.
weapon, they're acting hostile back to the police. Okay, that's where their training is supposed to step in and speak to the person first and try to disarm them.
Zone A lost.
The anger comes in is that, for the most time, is given to a white person who may be a threat. Is they're given the chance to at least been spoken to. Even the chance to
You have zone A.
not even draw weapons or anything. So it's like, why are they not seen as a threat when, for the example, the white shooter in Kenosha is, he's walking around with a weapon out,
Zone B
and is just walking out, and nobody feels that is, the police don't feel that is a threat. Yet you can have a situation with a child, and he's already a black child, and he's already a threat. There's no need to speak to him. There's no reason to try to disarm him. Just shoot
You
to kill.
automatically consider him a threat.
You
It's
automatically
shoot to
see
kill.
him a threat.
You captured zone A.
So people are, I can see where people are angry, and where I'm angry myself is, why are we always seen as an automatic threat where we're not capable of
Zone C
having a conversation with, that we're not being given respect as a human being to see, wait, we can speak to this person. Maybe this person is angry, they are hostile, but we can speak to them and try to disarm the situation by words first. Now, if somebody's actively shooting, trying to cut the person, the officer, I can understand that. And there are situations, again, where you already know as a person of color you're going to be seen as a threat. You want to make sure that you, in the situation, try to remain as calm as possible, even when you feel it's unfair. So you do have to be aware of your conduct, and that's even beyond black and white, but especially as a person of color. And again, this anger is just, why are we not given the same respect? Why are we not seen as somebody we can be reasoned with? Instead of just automatically reacting, we're in danger. If it's a black person, you just have to kill them because that's the only way of handling the situation with us.
Okay. Now, for the most part, I would agree. However, when it came to the white kid in Kenosha, there was one very big reason why police did not shoot him. Well, several actually. One, he was perfectly okay open carrying. He wasn't brandishing his weapon. He wasn't muzzle sweeping anybody. Two, as far as I know, apparently it's perfectly okay to open carry in Wisconsin as long as you're 18 years old and can legally afford to buy a gun or legally acquire a gun. Thirdly, He willingly went to police, hands up, and surrendered after
Zone A lost.
having to shoot those 3 people. That right there is one of the biggest differences in the situations. Mind you, I'm only saying the situation. I'm not saying in general or all of them.
1 minute left.
Right. I mean, this could go in circles. I feel like
Power play. Enemy has your zone.
a lot of folk of color or minorities go, "Hey, I'm a minority. Minorities are apparently more aggressive and more hostile." What I think my wife was getting at is that if it was a black man, who knows the outcome of this.
Enemy has
Well, if anybody was
You
smart,
know.
it would have been, the exact same.
defeated.
You know, I said if it was a black man, I think her point was if he had open carried and just walked up to police with a gun, they would have shot him before he got there. All they would see is a black man with a rifle. I think that's the point she was getting at.
I get
We-
where she's going. I still kind of disagree with it.
I mean, that's fine. You can disagree with it. That's the point of this, But this is the cause for the outrage.
Yeah, that's fine.
She's getting a delay. Go ahead, take off the mic and respond.
Oh yeah, like I'm saying, I can understand where you're going with this, Heavy. I'm just thinking as with all the hostility that was going on in the area, you're gonna have people who may have weapons with them who are either concealing it or it's out in the open. I feel like the police should have, and this is my personal opinion, should have spoken to him and seen, hey, what is your reason of business being here? You have this open, there's a lot of hostility going on in the area. Kind of do a check-in on, is this just to protect yourself? Be aware that, there's other people who are going to try to fight you. Just kind of to, see where this person's mindset is. Why would you willingly come to this area knowing that there's, strong racial tensions going on, a lot of confusion of who's on what side, what is the actual truth and why are people there fighting or protesting peacefully.
I understand where you're coming from. And my counterpoint to that one is it's very hard in that situation for police to check somebody out when almost all of them have been recalled to riot duty. Any other time, I would 100% agree with you. However, in the extreme circumstances of there being a riot where things are being destroyed and police have their order to maintain a perimeter around the building, whichever one it is, I want to say it was their precinct, don't hold me to it, then that leaves very, very few, if any, police resources to go and check on all the people who are openly carrying. Now, had it been a normal day and it would have been at the time the peaceful protest, by all means, yes, ID the kid, question him, make sure he's in full compliance with the laws, and if he's not, yes, by all means, arrest him.
Right.
Being the gun-toting redneck that I am, I fully support everybody's Second Amendment right. I want everybody to exercise every right. But when a 17-year-old kid is illegally carrying, because I think you have to be 18 to buy a rifle and 18 to open carry there, from what I'm getting from a lot of the responses, then yes, that kid technically should have been arrested. That is a felony.
And I agree with that. And I even to the point feel like this falls more on his parents as a responsibility, because what if in that situation, let's say he didn't get to shoot them in time and somebody shot him, then they're responsible for their child getting hurt. Well, even though he did get attacked, physically he did get attacked, even though he didn't get shot. So there's a lot of there's a lot to the situation, and it
There
goes,
is.
And I'm not saying I completely agree with protesters or even other people of color in the situation, because one, you have to be aware of where you're getting this information from. Was this really racially motivated? Was this person, the perpetrator, kind of in a way put themselves in that situation? That's the way like I view things first. Yes, we know overall police force can do things that are racially motivated, but you do have to look at things by a case by case basis.
Oh yes, I 100% agree. One of the cases that I can point out that I 100% agree was in the wrong
Mm-hmm.
was, I want to say it was a few years ago in Boston, where an officer shot a fleeing suspect in the back,
Mm.
and he was a good distance away.
Mm-hmm.
I can 100% agree that that was a
She
horrible,
didn't play the game.
Mm-hmm.
a horrible shoot. By all means, that officer should have been charged and terminated, which I
Yes.
can't remember if he did or not. He should have been, However, in this situation, since we're still in the investigation process, there needs to be a lot more calm and rational thinking over the typical reaction of let's all get together and peacefully protest, as people are calling it, when we're actually going to attack and burn down buildings.
I think that. Hi, I'm back, everybody. I had to go check my food. I'm sorry. Got ribs in the oven, and potatoes
That was
boiling.
a dumb move on my part.
You know what was dumb? My wife didn't touch Destiny when we loaded in, so I'm just in orbit, just sitting here, just. But it's fine. It's fine.
That was a good conversation. I enjoyed talking to her.
I'd be trying to get her in more conversations, but she's shy. But the opinions are there, and she's very
No,
articulate.
I enjoyed the conversation too.
Just cut me off like that. It's gonna lean into the mic and cut me off like that. I see you. But I don't know what y'all talked about. I'm assuming it was some more racially charged conversation, and more probably laws about like open carry and whatnot.
Yeah, the differences between, why I think that police wouldn't have been able to check this kid because they were on riot detail,
Mm-hmm.
which leaves a lot of police resources already stretched thin. But any other time, had there not have been what was going on, yes, by all means, I would have agreed. Search the kid, question him, ID him, make sure he's in full compliance with all laws. And if he's not, especially open carrying a weapon at 17, by all means, he should have been arrested, because that, I believe, is a felony.
I'm not sure if every police department has the rule or law that you should not be fired unless fired upon. I kind of thought that was a federal thing, a national thing. I may be wrong, so don't quote me on any of that. But I could have sworn that's just sort of the rule of thumb when it comes to the rules of engagement.
I thought that was just a military rule of engagement.
Well, I don't know. It probably just is, but I kind of feel like do not engage unless engaged upon is sort of a rule of thumb. I don't think lethal force is required to wholesomely end a situation unless it's absolutely necessary. On the protester side, look at the facts. and this is just a word to anyone who's watching this video now or in the future, look at the facts. Do not just react. If you see a black man get shot and the black community goes up in an uproar without any further investigation into it, you're wrong. And this is just a strong personal opinion of mine. You're wrong. Look at the facts. I'm a very fact-based person. I do not like speaking about something unless I have the facts to support it. Even just reading the article, I would have disagreed with a lot of the things you said previously, you know, but just reading up on it and briefing myself on the situation, hey, I kind of understand where the officer was coming from. I do see that they did try to use non-lethal force to defuse the situation at first. You know, there was some sort of procedure or protocol followed, although not in the right order. Something was there, you know. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for anybody to be burning or looting, especially for a peaceful, quote-unquote, peaceful protest. You're wrong. And if anything, you're just as wrong as the officer who shot the black man. This is the reason why officers are scared of minorities and black people. Look at how you're reacting.
Yep. I mean, this is why PD is now officially on edge 24/7.
You know, you have officers out here getting shot for absolutely no reason than the fact that they're officers. You're not making the situation better at all. If you want to peacefully protest, put up your sign, sing Kumbaya, sing peace for all, whatever. I don't give a fuck if that's what you're doing. But burning, looting, shooting officers, saying that quote-unquote blue lives don't matter and that all officers deserve to die. I mean, there's so much of that going on. I can understand why officers are in this high tense, high stress mind state, and they do pull for their firearm immediately now. That's my 2 cents I'm going to say on what's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Hey, I'm glad you said it, man.
We can drag this out. We can drag this out, but that's it.
Well, I'm just glad you said it because it's one of those things now. I don't know if you've noticed, but
because you're white, it doesn't matter what you say?
No. No. It's more along the lines of like when a black man says something like that, if you look at how the protesters are going to react, instead of being, you know, calm and collected about it and saying, okay, well, that's your opinion, I disagree, here's why, they're going to turn around and go, well, you have internalized racism. Or internalized...
How do you internalize racism? What?
I don't fucking know. Like, I've literally heard people say to, like, a black cop that he's a fucking race traitor. He's a class traitor.
You know how many times I've heard here in the city when a black dude talks to a black officer, you know they killing us out here, right? And you went over there to their side so you could be safe. You gonna kill us so that you can stay alive. Bro, you a sellout. This, that, and the third to black officers. And I'll be looking at him like the dude just wanted he just wants some income. He's just working.
He probably just signed up because he thought he could make a difference.
That's another issue with the black community. That's a whole topic of the black community putting down the black community. That is a whole separate issue. And it happens within every community. White, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Asian. You know, just as a black fellow myself focus on because I'm in that community. But I'm pretty sure it happens in pockets of all races around the world. So...
Oh, yeah. It totally does. There's plenty of times you see shit about, like... You know, well, you didn't do this, so you're not a white man. It's like, wait a second, how the am I not white because what? My skin is pretty fucking pasty.
You Rufus, the naked mole rat from Kim Possible.
You know, I mean, I don't know what exactly you're expecting out of me. You know, was there some kind of white guy test that I didn't fucking take?
You don't
get shit like that.
you don't cook out with a white tank top on and the dead chancletas.
No, it's, I'm not wearing Crocs and socks, but fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Our next topic. If Heavy has joined me here in orbit yet, I'm not sure if his match is still going on.
Just finished this match. I'm joining up.
All right. Our next topic, I actually am bringing it back over to politics here. The elections coming up, the race, who our picks are for president, and
here comes the hate.
this sort of actually goes back to remember that conversation we had not too long ago where I read off the arguments about what's fact and what's opinion.
Yes.
Something was said in there that really got to me about people's mind states and how others may actually be viewing what a fact and opinion is here in this politically charged country currently. And that is what an opinion and a fact is to you. He said that a fact is only true to the person who views it as a fact. So I just want to get this sort of out the way and your opinion on it, because I know I kind of hurt your brain reading it to you.
It's alright, my brain constantly hurts.
But he basically said that a fact is a truth to the individual, and I just wanted to know what your opinion is on that statement before we officially get into politics and who's running and not necessarily who you're voting for, unless you want to share that.
Trump 2020.
But just politics in general, what's going on, the stupidity that is America right now. But first things first, yes, an opinion is only the truth that matters to you. A fact is only the truth that matters to you. What's your opinion on that?
To me, a fact is anything that can be proven. So, example given, water is wet. We know this as a fact because we can go turn on the faucet in our kitchen
Correction,
and be like, yep.
We have already proven it.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
We can sit there and be like, yes, water is wet. An opinion would be like, I don't like the color purple. I think it's stupid. Okay, that's your opinion. I happen to like the color purple. I think purple is best color.
And just to jump in there, the person I was arguing with, quote unquote arguing with, he would have said that because his favorite color is purple, that it's a fact, and that it may not be a fact to you, but it's a fact to him. And that this fact is absolute and proven because he likes purple.
That's more of a preference.
It was sort of like one of those "the beauty is in the eye of the beholder" type thing. It was. He said, "Oh, it's your perspective that makes it an opinion."
False.
So just so that we're in agreement, an apple is an apple, and just because you see the apple as an orange, it doesn't change that the apple is an apple.
Yes.
All right. Do you have an opinion on that, my love?
Well,
I'll give you the headphones. I gotta go check on my ribs. You can talk.
okay.
Yeah, get them ribs.
Well, I would say my take on that is that the fact is something, agreed, it can be proven. It's always going to be under certain values and principles, under certain guidelines all the time, because that governs it. That's going to make it a fact. Like you said, water is wet. Water is always going to be wet because of the fact of it's chemical components, how it's always going to react in, nature or isolated. It's always going to react the same way. It's going to be, well, it's always going to be wet for the most part.
Yeah.
So as far as politics go with opinions and facts, I feel like it's more of, you can say who you believe is the right candidate or not the right candidate, but at the end of the day, the fact is they're both candidates, and what they can do that is better or not is, based on their proven track record that shows, okay, they can always perform in these areas based on what they have shown before.
Mm-hmm.
But going back onto this person who brought up that discussion, he tends to go with that if you vote for one candidate, you're completely wrong and you're essentially being a sheep.
Sounds like quite a few people I would know.
Right, and there's plenty of people like that, and they have a right to their opinion. But I feel like in that situation, whoever it is has a right to vote for who they want to, based on whatever values and principles they like of that candidate. But to say and put them down for having their opinion is wrong, because everybody has a right to pick which candidate they want. Passing this over.
Yes. Which is kind of mind-boggling, considering I've heard stories about families disowning other people for some of the dumbest reasons when it came to politics.
I mean, let's just bring facts into this. Trump was and is our president, right? He's running for the next 4-year term of office. There are people out there that absolutely believe that Trump has done more for this country than Obama. And people will constantly bring up the Obama administration, the Trump administration, as comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Nobody wants to look at facts when it comes to making that comparison. If I was to pull up a list of everything Obama did for the country, you'd be shocked. He's done more than the media has portrayed. He's definitely put in more legislation and things of the sort that make sense. A lot more than Trump has.
Okay.
This is a fact. I would pull up sources right now, but my hands are tied. But I definitely don't mind tagging these sources below later on so that you can actually look up what I'm talking about. I'll definitely go ahead and look up sources for that after.
Wow, I cannot punch that guy to save my life.
I also want to say this is not the first pandemic we have had to deal with as a country.
This is not.
During the Obama administration, we had the Ebola outbreak. And it was projected to be one of the biggest outbreaks in recent history. It was not. Why is that? People want to talk about the difference between how Obama handled a pandemic versus Trump handled a pandemic, and people give Obama shit. But it was contained.
Well, I mean, not only that, but, what was it? H1N1.
Right? There was 3 total pandemics that were supposed to happen during the Obama administration. He trusted his team, he trusted the science, and he left it up to science, and he handled it. Decisive action. That did not happen during his presidency. This is a fact. It's not something you can argue or dispute.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
Now, I'm not going to say Obama was the greatest president of all and he did everything right. He inherited a country full of problems and he couldn't handle it all. and that's to be expected of a president. I'm not saying that Trump is an ass president because he didn't handle everything the right way. For me personally, it feels like he handles everything just about the wrong way, but people support him, and there's a reason people support him. I'm not a flat-out Trump hater. He does some things right, he does some things wrong. That is an opinion. He does some things right, he does some things wrong.
Yes.
Go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying, Crimson. I wanted to add on to that. What gets me annoyed when people say that a president didn't do enough, didn't do the right thing, they tend to forget. When they say that, it translates in my mind, this is our opinion, to whatever laws and policies were put in place. I didn't personally see it. It didn't benefit me. And sometimes what a president puts in place may not directly benefit you, because it's not about your group, it's about the benefit of the good. And in long term, that translates to what services did I get from this candidate. And I have to say, having different conversations with people tend to forget that the services that you want depends on who did you vote in place to carry out those services. Who are your elected judges, officials, council members, governors, mayors. So when people set out for those important elections and then turn around and blame it all on the president, I feel like that's unfair. You have to look at what work did you put in, because at the end of the day, what you're going to get is from what you put into it. If you're not actively voting consistently, if you're not actually going to different council meetings and being involved in something, you can't just wait around for the president to turn everything around, because they have, in a way, less power than what people believe they have. They have a whole team, and you have to look at, when you vote for a president, you're voting a whole team of people into place. And you have to look at the research and view what are those candidates, their whole team, what are their views, what are their policies, what is their track record, before you just put down one whole person. And I feel like that's an important part to look at before you just put down a whole candidate.
Get him, Heath.
I'm going to just say thank you for saying that. Too many people, especially nowadays, way too many people are real quick to instantly blame the president. And it happened during Obama's administration too. Too many people were quick to dismiss and outright attack Obama.
Yes.
And I think, oh my God, I think we're seeing the exact inverse right now with Trump. Too many people are too fast to just be like, well, it's all Trump's fault because XYZ opinion. And that needs to stop. People need to stop and realize and educate themselves on what presidential powers there are.
And how presidential powers affect the other branches at large.
Yes.
I totally agree with that.
More and more people need to actually understand what presidents can and cannot do, and how the higher forms of our government, being the three major branches that are in DC, function together.
It's a whole system.
Yes. Like I remember back when Trump had gotten elected, just right after he got elected, everybody's sitting there afraid that Trump's gonna be, Donald Trump is literally Hitler.
The thing about that was Trump doesn't have a seat in politics. He didn't have a real seat in politics when he ran for president. And it shows. He doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fair to say. You know, he's not a politician. He's a businessman, and he's running the country like a business. It's what he does.
Your victory gives
Yeah,
the
you know.
city hope.
But for me, him becoming president, like some people, like a lot of the country, literally, I'm not sure if you saw the news. People were crying when he was like officially named president.
Oh, I saw it. I'm not gonna lie. Call me an asshole if you want. I laughed. I took great joy in their misery.
We never claimed to be nice people here on the show, so
Exactly.
I can sympathize because a lot changed when Trump became president, and a lot definitely for the worse, but some for the better. You know, again, I'm never gonna take a man or woman and put him down entirely. I'm not going to say that he hasn't done anything. A lot of it is left up to his ever-changing, revolving door administration.
This is very true.
And regardless of what went on in the polls, you know, the speculation and the proven, unproven Russian involvement and what I couldn't give a crap about any of that. Educate yourself. Trump did not have to be the only option you chose. There are other parties. Obama did not have to be the only option you chose. There are other parties. Hillary did not have to be the only option you chose. There are other parties. Parties that agree more with your ideas than just Republican or Democrat.
Oh yeah, the two-party system is definitely very outdated, and we need to be able to have third, fourth, fifth parties.
But we do.
Be able.
That's
they
the
need
thing.
to be able to make it to the ballots instead of them being shut down.
They get shut down because people don't educate themselves about politics in general.
True.
If I was to sit here and say, hey, do you know that we have to elect a mayor every 2 years in our city? The people would know
be
that.
like, huh?
If
What
I
do
was
you
to
mean?
sit here and say, did you know you have to elect your governor? Do you know that you have to elect the people that represent your respective states when you're giving into the polls? How many people actually know that? Who
Well,
represents
if you?
you?
Look at how, if you look at it right now, not many people, because they still think we go off the popular vote.
You know, who represents you? You're absolutely right. Who represents you? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Watch.
No, I agree. You know, the more modern generation does not know shit about how our government works.
Who's our state governor here in New York?
Andrew Cuomo.
Right. Who's our city mayor?
De Blasio.
Who's our county mayor?
County.
Whoa. What is this county
Our
mayor you
county
speak
mayor
of?
is we have. Excuse me.
We live in Bronx County. We have a representative for Bronx County.
Oh, what's his name?
Like on the city council or?
Diaz.
Ruben Diaz.
Ruben Diaz.
No, there's another more local form of government, at least for New York,
Yeah,
to
for
my
the
knowledge, that are for each and every county here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Each
you
borough
really need
has a
to.
president.
It'll-
Yeah, mayor.
You're gonna have to enlighten me on that one because this is the first I've heard of
Right.
it.
So we have our governor, we have our city mayor, we have
Borough presidents
our borough presidents,
and deputy.
we have our
borough
deputy,
presidents,
we have county mayors,
county mayors, council members,
and then we have the council members here at the bottom.
members.
Then the
Okay,
city
I'm-
congress. Right. There's multiple
then
levels of
district-
government.
Council members.
All right, I love you guys, but Jesus Christ, no wonder New York's so fucked up.
But you get the point I'm making. How many people know that? how many people would take the time to sit there and look at everybody who represents them here in the city, here in the state? You know, I'm sitting here naming all of these things, and I don't. You're pretty versed on like a lot of New York stuff. I'm not. I won't put you down.
But I honestly had no idea you guys had that much government. Like,
saying
I knew you guys had, like...
Sounds like a confusing system.
Borough representatives. Like, that's where I thought it ended. Like, I thought it ended with, like, you know, the Bronx and Queens having their own reps. But I didn't know there were, you know,
No, there's
borough
more.
presidents, county mayors, all that. Because I'm, like, sitting here going, huh?
There's more, and this is sort of the point I'm making. People don't know. People don't know. If I was to sit here or go outside and ask anybody, any New Yorker I walk past, who represents you as a council member for your local area,
Your enemy has a power play.
you wouldn't get an answer. Nobody knows.
Battle is still close.
Nobody knows, and that's the sad truth of it. Unfortunately, how many people in Texas knows who represents their state?
Most of us, because...
Knows who's the governor for that specific state.
Most of us know, because...
knows the
Abbott's
local
been
enforcement.
Kind of a badass.
Knows the local enforcement, you know. And Texas is a pretty politically charged state, so I get your answer.
Yeah, what Crimson is
But
bad.
get what I'm saying, though. Like,
No,
as-
I totally get it, you know. Very few people take it upon themselves to be educated enough to know who's doing what when it comes to even the localist form of government. And either A, refuse, or B, just don't want to, or C, just can't find out these answers.
Zone C captured. That's a power play. You took them. Now hold them. Zone A lost. Zone
All right, here's another question for you.
Okay.
Here in New York, 2 weeks out of the month, every month, we have city council meetings. City council meetings that are open to the public to solve a lot of the problems and issues we have here in New York. To engage in those talks and allow us to move towards a better functioning government here in the city.
Eh,
How many people know?
And if you want to say even entry means to things is like, how many people?
That said, let me finish. You have the delay going on your
Sorry.
headset. Forgive me.
Yeah, I do.
Hardly anybody goes, but quote unquote, hardly anybody knows that it actually happens, even though it's advertised in the news every day.
And what I was going to say is, we have our participatory budgeting meetings, which I believe you can be like as young as 14 or something to attend those.
Yeah, but we're not even going to get into all of that. Just I'm gonna go general here.
But I'm saying that is general. People want to complain what services they don't get. You can literally vote on and be there and see the amount of money for the different services your community has access to. And the council member is right there to speak to and push to, hey, we vote you and we want X, Y, and Z services. Here's the money for it. So it's not like it's hidden from the public view. That's just my
This has been very educational
Right.
and entertaining.
Right. But we're just looking at numbers here for now. There's
It
Gene.
has been.
Yep.
Hardly anybody goes to these meetings. The point I was making was that it's advertised. If you have a TV, you know that it's possible. If you have a phone, you know it's possible. If you're on social media, they advertise it on social media. If you walk into a library, they have the city council meetings up as posts in the library. There's all of these different forms of media and on all of this available information. And nobody wants to fix the problems. Nobody wants to attend these city council meetings. I don't know what it is for Texas. I know you guys have city council meetings.
Oh yeah, we do. They're. I can't say they're advertised because I really haven't seen them. I do know that they are broadcast on all our local public access channels.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have them on our city websites.
No,
And I
my
know
question
our
is to you, given that it's Texas, how often do people go to these meetings?
I really couldn't give you an answer. I know I don't, but that's mainly because they happen during day shift and I work nights.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen lately, they've been doing a lot of town halls. Now,
That's fair.
from my perspective, considering I work for a municipal government, we get our own little notifications whenever they're doing a town hall that relates to city employees. And we can register and go and, do all that. No problem. I don't know how many people go because, once again, they're on day shift. I work third.
A victory well executed.
But from what I'm understanding, quite a few of our city employees go to these town halls.
Now think New York. Estimate how many people go to these meetings.
I'm going to say out of, you have a population of, 3 million?
Somewhere around there.
I'm going to say maybe at most 5%.
No.
All right, figures. 1%.
2%.
Oh, okay.
2% for the whole year. Not even for the month, for the whole year. That's how little people know about politics. That's how little people want to be involved in politics. Oh, well, somebody's going to get elected and they'll just take care of all of our problems for us. That's the attitude. I don't need to vote because whoever's representing me must be doing a good job because I'm getting my food stamps and I'm still living minimum wage. And yeah, that's the attitude here.
That sucks.
This is the state that we live in. I'm not happy with it because for a while we went to all of these meetings, but to see somebody 60 sitting there 4 seats away from you and somebody 50 sitting there in the back row and maybe 1 or 2 people who are in their 30s as a couple sitting there, and that's the whole city council meeting. At the most 16 to 18 people every meeting.
That's... wow.
I can only imagine if it's this little in New York. I'm pretty sure people are more involved in other states. But if it's this little in our important states, in our big states, the ones that truly sway the votes here for our presidential elections, why the system works the way it works. It's bad. And I feel like politicians in particular don't even try to educate their respective states as to who to vote for, when to vote, and what's coming up. I don't feel like that initiative is truly taken so that people can make educated decisions. You don't hear about politics or who to vote for or when this comes up in school growing up.
No, you don't.
That's not taught. You're purposely being left ignorant of who's representing you. And I feel like it shows, especially nowadays, which is sort of the big reason why I wanted to bring up politics. Who are you voting for? Do you really know? When you vote for this person, who's backing them? Do you really know? Educate yourself,
Yeah, no, I'm 100% right there with you.
Are you saying the two-party system has failed? And I guess to answer that was this big long rant that I gave. It's failed because of us. It can work. It can work for the people. It doesn't have to work against the people. The problem with the people is the people.
They're ignorant. You know, they're not doing their due diligence.
Yeah. Go on.
That's pretty much all I got right there with that one. You know, if nobody wants to do the research to find out, you know, I'm gonna use the current presidential campaign as an example. If you don't want to sit there and figure out what Donald Trump's plan is for his possible second term, or if you don't want to know what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's plan is for their terms, that's on you. However, that also is going to affect the entire country for 4 years.
We got a guy teleporting, by the way.
Alright.
Oh man, this is a great conversation.
I find it very educational, and it's just bringing up so many good points that the responsibility falls on the people.
100%. You know, if I sit there and I say something stupid like, oh, I'm voting for Trump because he tells it like it is, that's not a good enough reason to vote for somebody. I don't care who you are. But at the same time, if I say I'm going to sit there and vote for Biden because vote blue no matter who, that's an even dumber reason.
Vote blue no matter who. Oh man, I love the conversation coming out of all of this.
You know, I don't care if my representative is a Democrat or a Republican. All I care about is how well they're going to represent what I feel are issues that need to be looked into. Are they going to do a good job looking into, you know, prison reform? Are they going to do a better job looking into possible improvements to policing? Are they going to look into government spending? What are they going to do about, you know, any kind of hot topic issue, whether it's what constitutes free speech or what constitutes up to, you know, proper gun ownership.
And be truly decisive on what those things mean. People say, "Oh, yeah. Trump, tell it like it is." That's not true. You know, Trump does a lot of. Hey, here's an example. Trump does a lot of. Mr. Trump, what's your opinion on the death rate here in America due to coronavirus? I think the death rate. Well, you see, I think I'm doing a good job, and I think the numbers look great. You know, the numbers aren't that bad. You know, death, you know, it happens. It is what it is. But you know, the numbers, they're fine. Did he answer the question? Nope. That's what Trump does, but he tells it like it is.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's a stupid reason to vote for it.
The enemy has gained ground, but it's not over.
That's by far the dumbest reason I heard somebody vote for somebody ever.
You know, telling it like it is, and this comes full circle, is going back to the facts. How educated are you on the situation? How do you know what he's saying is the right thing to say? You know, is the right thing being said? How do you know that we have the numbers look right, is an actual number? He never stated a number. You know, educate yourself. Don't go, oh, the numbers look good. Oh, Trump said it, so it must be true. Go, he says the numbers are okay? Let me look into that.
Yep.
what are these numbers specifically that he's talking about? I feel like those are the reasons that we should be voting. Educational reasons.
Yes. Like I said, I disagree with anybody who votes simply because of stupid reasons. Whether it's, oh yeah, well, Trump tells it like it is, or, you know, vote blue no matter who. Like, the fanaticism in politics nowadays is disgusting.
I know a comeback when I see one. Fight on!
And to me, that seems to be a lot of what it is
Fanaticism.
You know, people are too hell-bent on voting along a party than they are voting for the best policies for the country.
I had an enemy in front of me using a super and he disappeared on me.
Oh, lovely. Well, we are going up against an entire a clan, like 3 or 4 people from the same clan.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
That's fine though. I mean, on politics, is there any like final words that you want to like sort of give that sums up your full opinion?
I mean, we've already said pretty much everything that forms my opinion. Be educated. Learn what your government does and how it does it. Don't just think everything is going to be fine because, oh, we voted this way for X amount of years. You'd be surprised how often the opposing party has an idea that might actually work.
Yeah.
You captured Zone A. That's a power play. You took them.
Yeah.
Now hold.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
You know, I know I live in a predominantly red state, and you know, there are times when things aren't great here. There's times when Texans face some pretty intense hardship. Nothing like stupidly hard, but you know, for a state-wise, yeah, it could be considered a good hardship. But we don't let that get us down, and we try our hardest to take care of our state as best we can.
Yeah, Texans are resilient. Most certainly.
And for everybody else,
Zone B.
I think the one thing that's missing from a lot of people, and this is a lot of just random opinion here, I think a lot of people do not have pride in their state. You know, if you have your pride in your state, you want it to be the best. You want it to succeed. And when you don't have that pride, you get people who don't care.
Right.
So, I guess that's my
Keep the pressure on. Now
final word. Be proud of where you're from, and don't just use it to be, you know, oh, where I'm from is the best. Like I'm not gonna sit there and say Texas is the greatest state ever.
impressive.
To me, it might be.
Red Jacks a lesson in territory control.
I love my state. I want it to succeed. Hell, I love my country and I want this.
Oh, well, no. Here we are, Some Salty Gamers official. This definitely is a bit more a heated topic, actually. A lot more back and forward and differing opinions than any other episode thus far. And just like on this podcast and probably many others, it is okay to have a conversation and talk and not be upset. Try to understand other people's perspectives. Try to understand the logic and where they come from. And also try your best to distinguish a fact from an opinion.
Very
That
much
is
so.
going to be the biggest and probably the best takeaway from any of the topics that we have talked about today, and any of the many governing, overarching conversational points that we've had. Differentiate fact from opinion. Just because you believe that it's a fact to you doesn't make it a fact. Do the research, educate yourself, and don't just do it for your state and for your country, but for yourself. There's nothing worse than being ignorant of what's going on around you. Take the time to
Big
understand people, take the time to understand their suffering, and take the time to understand their riches so that you yourself become a better person.
big facts right there.
This is Crimson Waters,
I'm Heavy Sins.
and my beautiful wife, Lady Keeve, who graced us with her presence today on the mic. Thank you all for watching. Do take care and have a great day.
Thank you.